Genesis. Behind the Story. Episode 6. Jacob's Ladder, based on Genesis 28:10-22. Welcome back to Stories by Anna. What if I told you that one of the most famous dreams in the Bible happened when a man was running for his life? Not in a palace, not in a temple, not surrounded by wealth or comfort, but alone, afraid, and sleeping on a rock. After fleeing from his brother Esau, Jacob began the long journey toward Haran. The sun was setting, night was approaching, and Jacob needed a place to rest. The Bible tells us that he stopped for the night because the sun had set. With no bed and no shelter nearby, Jacob took one of the stones from the area and placed it under his head. Then he lay down to sleep. Imagine how he must have felt. He had left his home. He had left his parents. He was uncertain about his future, and somewhere behind him was a brother who wanted him dead. But that night, something extraordinary happened. As Jacob slept, he dreamed, and in the dream he saw a stairway reaching from earth to heaven. The top reached into the heavens, and the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. Can you imagine seeing such a thing? A connection between heaven and earth. A reminder that God was still at work. Then Jacob saw something even more amazing. The Lord stood above it and spoke. God identified himself as the Lord, the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac. Then God repeated the promises that had been given to Jacob's father and grandfather. God promised him land. God promised him descendants. God promised that all peoples on earth would be blessed through his family. But perhaps the most comforting words were these: I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go. What a promise. Jacob was leaving everything familiar behind, yet God assured him that he would never be alone. The Lord promised to bring him back safely and to accomplish everything he had spoken. When Jacob woke up, he was overwhelmed. He said, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it." Then he added, "How awesome is this place! This is none other than the house of God. This is the gate of heaven." The next morning, Jacob took the stone he had used as a pillow. He set it up as a pillar. Then he poured oil on top of it as an act of worship. Jacob named the place Bethel, which means house of God. There, Jacob made a vow. He promised that if God remained with him and brought him back safely, the Lord would be his God. What began as a night of fear became a night of faith. What began with a stone became a sacred memory. And what began with a runaway son became the story of a man who would one day become the father of a nation. But Jacob's journey is far from over, because when he finally arrives in Haran, he will meet someone who changes his life forever, a beautiful young woman named Rachel. And the family drama is about to become even more complicated. We'll discover what happened in Episode 7. Jacob meets Rachel. If you enjoyed this story, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to Stories by Anna. And here's a question for you. Have you ever experienced a moment when you suddenly realized God was working in your life, even when you couldn't see it before? Let me know in the comments below. God bless. And I'll see you in the next story.